does remain the case that it's completely baffling to me how the only person who's ever been made legally accountable for the actions of Jeffrey Epstein, one of the most predatory pedophiles, certainly high-profile pedophiles in modern American history, is a woman who's languishing in jail, and no other men apparently were ever involved in any criminal activity with this guy. What is your view about this?
First off, kudos to you, Piers. That interview was spectacular.
So welcome back to the channel, guys. In this clip, we're going to watch Vinny and Benny Johnson both turn. Well, Vinny, I believe, will turn on MAGA. Benny Johnson is there. They are discussing this Epstein situation, this case on the Piers Morgan show. MAGA has been dealt a heavy blow, delivered a massive blow when it comes to this situation because Donald Trump decided to not really speak about it or to tell people to shut up about Epstein, and it's really made MAGA upset. But in this clip, we're going to watch it together to see how explosive it gets between Vinny Oshana from PBD Podcast and Benny Johnson, and see the similarities and differences between the two in their arguments. Without further ado, please, let's get right into the clip.
What the hell is going on here, Piers? So he's saying that the Prince Andrew photo's fake? You're joking. He's saying that there's a doctored photos. This is the opinion of the Maxwell family, that she never hung out with Prince Andrew. And then 2 questions later, he says, when they were all hanging out together with Prince Andrew, exactly what the hell just happened? That's crazy talk, man. And then his admissions about his father and his workings with foreign intel agencies. These are some bombshell admissions and some things that I really hope get asked in the federal testimony that is going to be elicited from Ghislaine Maxwell, that I have sources inside of the DOJ and the FBI that says that meeting is on the books. It's not something that they're dangling in front of us, Piers. It's not some shiny object. It's happening. It's already on the schedule, and it's going to happen. And so what's going to become of that? I'd really love to see the answers to that question. Ghislaine Maxwell is on the record saying she doesn't believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Well, why exactly? What was the operation? Did you literally sex traffic thousands of women to no one? Who was your father? Did you meet Prince Andrew? Is this a doctored photo, as you just elicited, out of her brother? These are wild bombshells. Bang on, Piers. That interview was something else.
Well, also, I just think in the end, Andrew paid Virginia Giuffre $11 million reportedly to not go to court and clear his name as he vowed to. And secondly, Ghislaine Maxwell paid apparently several $1 millions to Virginia Giuffre to avoid going to court and defending herself against her claims that that Virginia Giuffre was a liar. So, I agree that in America, a lot of people settle without any admission of fault or blame or guilt. However, when a load of people caught up in one of the biggest scandals of modern times are paying millions of dollars to people while simultaneously claiming they weren't victims, and nothing happened, and there's nothing to see here, Gov, I'm just not buying it.
I want to see what Vinny has to say about all of this, because this is a case that's really been bothering Vinny. So I want to skip over and just go right to Vinny's thought processes, what he has to say, basically, okay? So let's go ahead and check that out, because when it comes to Benny's a little bit more for the establishment, for the Trump administration. I mean, shout out to him, right? He worked hard to get Trump back in office. So he just he might not say everything, I don't know, but let's see what Vinny has to say.
It's all the people, it's the team around him. Okay, Trump did make a promise, Piers, when he was asked, will you release JFK? Yes. Martin Luther King? Yes. 9/11? Yes. Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah. But with that one, we kind of got to be careful. Okay, so it wasn't like he ran on it. It wasn't a campaign promise. But when your team, the Pam Bondis, the Cash Patels, and Dan Bongino, who I admire and I love a lot, are out there on the front lines making all these promises. Piers, you personally, if you had your team of producers and all these people around you, they're speaking on your behalf and they're making all these promises, wouldn't you be like, hey guys, shut the hell, what the hell are we doing?
Well,
so it's just shady from the
Vinny,
beginning.
I think it's
And-
worse than that
Yeah.
because we all know how Donald Trump operates. They wouldn't have all been doing that off their own bat, right? They'd have all been doing it because they have been encouraged to do it. They were speaking on behalf of his administration. So something went down, and I don't know what it was, and maybe it was the Elon Musk thing. I don't know what it was. I mean, we've now got the Wall Street Journal obviously publishing what they claimed was a hand-drawn, bawdy letter bearing Donald Trump's name to Jeffrey Epstein at Ghislaine Maxwell's request for his 50th birthday album in 2003. A pair of small arcs donate women's breasts. The future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. Now, Trump has responded by saying it absolutely wasn't anything that he did. He's now suing the Wall Street Journal. He's suing Rupert Murdoch for billions of dollars. And we'll have to see how that all plays out. But it was no doubt that they were very good friends for a period of time. It's also no doubt that, to his credit, Trump dropped him when he became knowledge that he was a convicted pedophile, which a lot of other people didn't, including, I don't believe, Ghislaine Maxwell. So I do think there's like life before the conviction and life after the conviction for public figures. If you carried on like Prince Andrew, hanging around a guy who's been convicted of soliciting an underage girl for sex, then I think, I'm afraid, you are then guilty by association, right? You can try and pretend you're not, but you are.
Piers, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
You've known Donald Trump for 20 years, admittedly, yes? Okay. You've hung out with
Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you to every eye that lands on these videos. Let's get right back to the video.
him in private. You've hung out with him in public. Yes. Okay. Have you ever known him to be a limp-wristed thespian? Like a vaudevillian poet that would write enigmatic, mysterious poems to Jeffrey Epstein and then wear some type of French hat and draw beautiful outlines of women scantily clad? Like, does it sound like Donald Trump to you?
I can say two things about that. I'll say three things about that. One, he's never done that to me, okay, in either written or verbal form. Secondly, evidence has come out that he's been quite a doodler in his time. So I don't think he's never non-doodled. And thirdly, as you probably know, Ben, I mean, I've got probably 150 handwritten scrawls from Trump over things he's read about me, emails I've sent him. That's his way he corresponds. He doesn't use email himself. He'll send you back a printout of your email and he'll scrawl with his Sharpie whatever he wants to scrawl. So he's a scrawler and apparently a doodler.
I mean, the fact that this is even part of the conversation is pretty doggone, like, it's like cringe and lame. Like, look, I don't think that Trump is in the files that hard. I don't. I do think that it is being covered up for other reasons and huge reasons, right? But I think that Trump being in the files is just too simple. I mean, I'm sure he's in there, but like not like the way that people are making it out to be or trying to defend. I just have a problem with, everything begins and ends with Trump. That's not Trump's fault, but he's such an enigma that, this huge case, what should really be the conversation is, what is the thing that's making this administration hold back on releasing those files, right? And then to go find out, because whatever that thing is controlling the president by proxy. Like, it's controlling the president somehow, because this should have never even turned into this big scandal. But instead, everybody's worried about if Trump was in the files. And it's like, why are we stopping there? Like, that's not the bigger issue. It simply just isn't. The bigger issue is what is holding back this administration from releasing the files. And even if he made that promise halfway, it's still, the people have a right to know. Like, we pay these people's bills, right? That's our money that, that they're using, that they're living off of. The government's supposed to, quote, work for us. So regardless if it was a promise or not, if the people are demanding it now, there should not be any discussion. It really shouldn't. I think it's just that simple. Guys, let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments.
But I have never known him right in the way that you're talking about.
Okay, so let me skip ahead because I think I see Vinny getting ready to get worked up about something.
Hour. And I know clips from my show, Kash Patel, have gone viral. Clips from your show, Alina Habba, has gone viral. But none of these people were in power. None of them should have to answer for the cover-up that happened 20 years ago. And that should truly be the nexus of our questions. What happened then when Jeffrey Epstein was caught underage trafficking over 50 women in 2025? What happened was he started giving up sources to the FBI. Robert Mueller gave him immunity in 2005. This is correction. 2005, Robert Mueller was the head of the FBI. You know who was also at the FBI as a deputy? James Comey at that time, Piers. And so then through the course of the prosecution in Florida, the federal charges are dropped. Alex Acosta gets told he belongs to Intel and to not look into it. Jeffrey Epstein gets the sweetest of sweetheart deals, and Ghislaine Maxwell is arguing that I have immunity because the federal government told me I have immunity forever, which is something, of course, the federal government never does. So
Okay,
that's
but
insane.
Benny, let me ask you this.
All right,
but Benny,
looking at those questions.
Listen, I think you make a lot of very good points. I totally agree with you. But on this point about House Speaker Mike Johnson shutting the House down to avoid a vote on Epstein, how does that do anything but just ramp everything up tenfold?
Totally agree with you. You know, we went thermonuclear viral, made international news last week by asking Mike Johnson live on our stream inside of the United States Capitol about this issue. And he said he's totally in favor of full disclosure. But what he said today was that he wants, I agree. I contend that there are countervailing opinions here. And but Mike Johnson told me in a 2-minute, what I thought very thorough answer, that he wants full disclosure here and that he'd be okay with Ghislaine Maxwell testifying before Congress. Now, what he said today was that he wants to give the White House time to maneuver this or to work on this. I'm not sure his exact language. So maybe Mick, who's been a member of Congress, can commentate on what that actually means. But that's what he told us last week.
Well, I'll come to Mick in a moment. Vinny, what do you feel about that? I mean, I just think that's such a bad move to shut the House down and to block other votes happening simply so you can stop a vote on the Epstein scandal. Just seems to me a ridiculously inflammatory act, which is only going to pour fuel onto all the conspiracy flames.
I agree 100%. It's like Piers, how many more games do we have to play? And at the end of the day, the root of all this, and I know Benny could attest, Benny has a family, you guys have kids. These are we're talking about children, okay? The most overlooked, uncared about freaking group of freaking people on the planet. We had 300,000 during Obama missing at the border. Trump, God bless him, they found with Thomas Homan 10,000. But at the crux of this whole thing, and Benny made a great point, 40, 50 women came out. We were, taken advantage of. We were sexually assaulted by this guy. And what? He's free to go, and it's the they. Who's Alex Acosta saying? They said he worked for intelligence. Who are they? Who are these people? And Piers, there's a lot of debate where people are like, why would you want to do this? Maybe society's built on all this blackmail. If he works for Mossad and they have all this dirt, then the whole system's going to come down. There's a Latin term, and it says, "Let justice be done, though the heavens fall." I don't give a damn, Piers, what happens to the system. We're talking about children that were that were raped, that were freaking potentially murdered, Piers. Because if you think about it, these children, these underage 13, I know Epstein loved girls with braces. Those are 10, 11-year-old girls. What do you think happens with them when they sleep with one of these higher up people, like a really famous person? You think they just let them go? No, they're discarded, Piers, and that's the main part of it. Trump needs to wrangle this freaking team.
You know what, Vinny? Yeah. We know what happens to some of them because we know what happened to Virginia Giuffre. She may not have been an impeccable witness. She obviously got things wrong with Alan Dershowitz. But the truth is, she was paid millions by Prince Andrew.
All right, so I'm not going to sit here and listen to this propaganda. Like, for you to go in and fix it up for Alan Dershowitz is absolutely disgusting. And this is why we're in this position now. Everybody has to pretend like they're having a conversation, but they're really not having a conversation. I'll give Vinny half of a shout out for at least trying to throw in Mossad. But, for real, I don't see much coming out of this because everything is for content at this point, and it's quite the shame. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Supposedly Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be talking to some people, DOJ and Congress, and we'll just keep covering it. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.